Hey everyone, welcome to a special episode of Saturday Night Popcorn. This is called Sunday Morning Hangover, and this is Jason.
And this is Kai. We have a great discussion for you today. The movie of today is actually going to be a series of movies. We're going to discuss all three of Jordan Peele's movies: Get Out, Us, and Nope.
Yeah, and we also do want to kind of give a spoiler warning with all of our podcasts, since we do kind of discuss the movies in as much detail as we can. Maybe we will kind of cover a detail that will spoil the movie for you, especially with Nope being a newer movie in this discussion. But we always kind of want to give a spoiler warning before you listen to this. But yeah, let's talk about Jordan Peele. I think yesterday I watched all three movies back to back. It was a marathon of Jordan Peele. Three movies is not it's not uh uh unfathomable, but it was a very enjoyable Saturday, rainy Saturday here wherever I live. And but it was a lot of fun to watch all three movies, see the progression of Jordan Peele as he went along in the three movies. But what about you, Kai?
I didn't watch all three. I watched two out of the three. I had seen Get Out, I think maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago. So I decided just to watch Us, which I hadn't seen since it came out in theaters. And I wanted to rewatch Nope. So I rewatched that as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've seen Get Out, I think now three times. But Us was the second time I watched that yesterday, and it's like I think I literally watched Us when it came out
Hmm.
and years ago, and so I was like, I need to rewatch that one. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna if I'm watching two out of three, I'm watching all three. It's fine. What I got? What else do I got to do?
Hey, it's the
but
weekend.
but to start, like I can ask it. I know it's kind of hard with like three movies, but
Hmm.
in your opinion, out of the three movies, which one did you enjoy the most?
Us.
Us?
Yeah, I think I liked. I think uh, going into this, like going into the marathon of his movies, I think I was leaning more towards Get Out because that was one that was talked about the most. Like that was his first movie. He came out with a bang. Everybody loved it. And I had that same thought. And then once I rewatched Us, I realized like I like that one. I think that's my favorite of his three.
Interesting. I see.
Yeah.
I the when I ended all three movies
Hmm.
and kind of reflecting on like all three of them, I say Get Out is probably my favorite of all three.
Okay.
And just for the uneasiness, it's like you still feel that tension, that like this feels awkward, and this like you feel the main character in Get Out, where it's like I this situation is weird. Like you almost kind of want to talk to your screen or talk to the however you're watching it, just like you don't see this as weird. This is like something you should get out from. But which kind of coincides with the title. But
Yeah.
Us, for me, I rewatched it. I remember when I first watched it, it was like it was intense, it was
Hmm.
suspenseful, but throughout the whole movie, I had no feeling of that. Where Get Out, it was like the third time I've seen it, I still had those same kind of, this feels weird, this feels awkward, and I want to go with his friend that says no, like it's don't go to a crazy white person's house.
I felt differently though. Like
Yeah.
I think maybe because I've watched Get Out three, four times, I don't have that uneasy feeling. I kind of just get angry at the fact that he, I'm watching it again and like putting myself through all that. So the fact that I had so much time between the first time I watched Us and yesterday when I rewatched it, I still had that uneasy feeling of like this couple has a child, they child runs away, they don't know what happened to that child for 10 minutes. It could be anything. Like I think their heads went straight to someone harmed my kid because of how she came back to him. So that uneasiness and then the interaction between the tethered version of them and then like that was there was some tension there. yeah, I had more uneasiness with Us for that reason. That's like the tether. Like they don't know when the tether is gonna pop up. Um, they know their every move. Yeah. And then the fighting back and forth, the murders, like that family when they went into the oh, that's my favorite part. When they go over to
Oh,
the neighbors.
the neighbor family, the
Yeah. And they
yeah,
just
that's
get
intense.
mowed down in like a minute and a half. And you're just
Yeah.
like, how? You guys didn't even try to fight back. Like,
Right. It's well, they're like practically drunk all the time. So
yeah, true.
that's a clear warning that like it's like when you're like having some fun in the night or like at home having some drinks, don't drink enough that if there's an emergency, you're not helpful.
If your doppelganger comes by and you're drunk,
Yeah,
run
always get ready for
away.
your doppelganger. But I know I get what you're saying. It's still that uneasiness, and I think
Yeah.
it's also a testament to his Jordan Peele's kind of like directing style, and then also his whoever he chooses for his cinematographers on like all three films. I think possibly with like us, you can tell he's at like almost like a pinnacle of like cinematography where like
Yeah.
the color, the shading, the lighting and like just the nuances of like how much close up feelings does he like how close up does he get to the doppelgangers and then you kind of like cut real close to a close up of the non doppelganger or uh, the up
Untethered.
untethered and they're in like this state of shock and it's like
Yeah.
you do kind of still kind of get that feeling where it's like well, this is intense. Most of it's done like all the action sequences or like the kind of thriller are like in the nighttime too, so that
Hmm.
adds to that panic where and also for me the big thing that kind of came about where like the dad's like joking around all the time.
Oh, dude, that annoyed the hell out of me the first time
well,
I watched it.
well, it reminds me of my dad. My dad would totally be that person that like jokes around when it's like, no, I think we all need to be serious. And then
It's
little
like,
by
Dad, that man
little,
has a
you get
knife.
more, yeah, you get more serious. And then you're like, all right, I'm reading the room. It's like my dad's typically the person that would read the room last. And but but it's like it reminds us of like any like if you go on a family vacation, that's typically how it is. It's like you
Yeah. When
never build up.
I think I liked Us a lot, also because of my love for Santa Cruz, because it was based in
True.
Santa Cruz, and they showed. I don't like the boardwalk that much, but the fact that they were in Santa Cruz and talked about it and showed different like little landmarks here and there was nice.
Such a and thinking about it, like Kai and I we both grew up in California and stuff, and we're both from California. Um, but Santa Cruz seems like an odd choice. Like it seems like people that have been around California for a long time, most of their lives, like go to Santa Cruz. It's like they like you go hang
Yeah.
out at Santa Cruz sometimes. At some point in your life, you go and like go to the boardwalk, you go to the nicer areas of Santa Cruz and stuff, and you always somehow find a time, sometimes yearly, you can probably go there. But out of all the choices in California, like Santa Cruz was like, huh, that's like very niche and like the rest of the country probably wouldn't even like Santa Cruz, California. What are they talking about?
I think it's because of the Lost Boys reference, because that's where the Lost Boys was shot.
Oh,
Yeah.
I haven't
So
seen
I
The
think it's
Lost Boys
because
in a
of
long
that.
time.
I haven't seen it at all. Like as a
Oh,
kid,
okay.
I was a scaredy cat of horror movies. So I was not watching that. I had friends that used to watch it and they would tell me about it, and I would just be like, nope, I'm watching my Hercules. Like, I'm good.
Well, that changes things up because it's like I did not put two and two together that could be sort of like the inspiration is that the
Yeah.
Lost Boys in Santa Cruz.
But I think that's what I like about his style is what I've done thus far with his movies is like I'll deep dive into like his interviews after he's finished a movie and it's out for everyone to view. He'll talk about all his references. Like he talks about how much he's into horror movies and thrillers from the 70s, 80s. And that was one of the things he discussed during like the promo for us. It's like, oh yeah, like Santa Cruz, Lost Boys, the holding hands thing from the '80s was a real thing.
Yeah, that was a real thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true, and it is nice, and kind of shifting the conversation to Get Out. That's I the the version that I rented off of Amazon had the alternate ending kind of attached to the back end of the credits,
Oh,
but
which is just sad.
which is it almost like and but what was cool about it is that it was the alternate ending, but it was commentary on top of it from Jordan Peele. So it's like he was explaining like, oh, this is the true ending that he originally wrote, and then it was kind of altered to what it is now and to what Get Out has as an ending.
Mhm.
And it's I was talking to Kai after I texted Kai after I watched that alternate ending, and it's like it is sort of like what the realization of what some people do experience in everyday life nowadays, or from
Yeah.
our own lives. But it was nice to hear his explanation of like they like this was like this shot was like this because it's like, oh, we're running out of time and we couldn't really get like a good death scene from this person, or this is the reason why. And then we transition to like 6 months later and he's in prison, and it's nice that he does seem like a person that's very knowledgeable of
Mhm.
his style and where his style came from, and has clear examples of like what what kind of shot does he want to do, or what kind of like emotion does he want to convey in his movie, and then he kind of like brings it back to where that emotion came from, where it's like he uses those kind of examples in his past from the 80s 70s horror films and his love for those to influence his directing nowadays.
I wonder if he does like the full Tarantino and adds like his references to his scripts. Like I would love to see one of the
That's interesting.
screenplays because they say Tarantino has like a full on like breakdown of here's exactly where the reference came from. Here's the mark. Go watch it. Like you can watch it on YouTube and find out exactly like what you're supposed to portray. So I wonder if he does that as well, or if he just kind of has a more nuanced reference of like, hey, the Lost Boys was shot here. I want to shoot here too, type of thing.
I don't know. And I'm not entirely certain if this is true, but I heard a long time ago that Jordan, when he starts up a new movie, or when he like knows he's filming a movie, he's gonna direct it. He has his actors and actresses, and he gives like almost like a curated list of movies that he wants them to watch to kind of get them in the mood.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder that's how he kind of does that, where it's like, all right, here's how you kind of get yourself into the mood that I'm trying to like convey in this movie. And here's the examples that I'm kind of drawing from, or how I like, maybe he gives a movie and here's this movie. And it's like, you kind of want to watch this scene. This is sort of what I'm kind of going for.
Yeah.
And that I got to look that up whether or not that's true, but
I think a lot of directors have been doing that nowadays, like because there's so much source material out there.
true.
Because I think I heard the director for the Batman did the same thing. Like him and his, or at least with him and his cinematographer, they were working together to find like the style they wanted and like the feel that they wanted, and they reference like I think same thing like '70s, '80s crime films.
Yeah. And I think one of their biggest influences for the Batman, and as a tangent, that it's Seven, where
Oh
the
yeah,
movie Seven. So it's like it's always rainy, it's always wet. That's sort of like how the Batman and Gotham City is like always portrayed. Um, but in terms of Get Out, the what I liked in Get Out also, and I see it also with us, are those shots that it's in Get Out. There's this scene where they are having dinner together with the brother, who's kind of like getting a little inebriated and a little too aggressive as he begins to drink more, and but they're having like an intense conversation between the brother and then the main character of Get Out, where Jordan will kind of move the camera where it's over the shoulder, so you still see the silhouette of the main character, but you're seeing the brother kind of having this intense conversation. So it kind of puts you there. It puts you in that moment, and you're kind of experiencing that situation uh, as an over the shoulder shot. And so you're embedded into the conversation also.
He didn't do that, and I was about to say, oh, he did that in Us too. He didn't. His Us was more just close ups on the characters' faces. But
Yeah, I
I
think it
did
was like
like that he
more
did
close
that
ups of that. Yeah, but
because you were able to still see or somewhat kind of get the reaction of both characters during the conversation they were having.
yeah, because he'll also flip it around and kind of like have another shot where you're looking at the main character, and then you also kind of take in the context of like you look at like the father where it's like a lot like they're trying to portray that it's an awkward conversation.
Hmm.
Um, but little things like that, I feel like for me, it kind of like puts me into the situation, and because you still see it's not a first person shot, so you're not like fully integrated as like
Yeah.
you're trying to like put yourself into it, but like it's almost like a fly in the wall where you're looking over the shoulder and you're able to feel the intensity with the character at the same time.
Hmm.
But
So I have a
that
question.
yeah.
What genre would you put these movies into?
uh
Would you
it,
put would you put all three in the same genre, or would they be separate genres?
Definitely the last one, Nope. I would
Mhm.
say Nope is a sci-fi western. It is a western film.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, granted, it's on a ranch, it's on a farm, there's horses and junk like that, and so you will associate that. But I feel like even my girlfriend and I were like discussing like uh uh there's like him like towards the end of Nope, the main character, one of the main characters is on a horse, and
Mhm.
there's like this like and then like they're he's trying to like bait
Jean
the
jacket.
ship. Yeah, jean jacket. And he's trying to bait it, and it's like this like whole production of like, all right, he's gonna run down and then wait for this thing. And so like all the different shots, I feel like both of myself and my girlfriend were like, that's sort of like a western like action kind of like set piece and everything. And for that, definitely I would say sci-fi western. So I can say Us and Get Out are not sci-fi westerns, but I would say he's like more he's not horror. I don't think it would
No,
it's not horror as to what you like would define as traditional horror, like a slasher film or
it's more of a psychological thriller.
that's sort of what yeah, the first two definitely Get
Yeah.
Out and Us are psychological thrillers. The second one, Us, is more of a thriller and like because there's like action sequences.
Hmm.
Get Out is like purely, I feel like psychological.
Yes.
Um, yeah, same
I
same for you.
would. Yes and no. So psychological thriller for Get Out for sure. Us, I think is the closest movie he got to horror out of the three so far because of the amount of killings and like the slasher of it. But still psychological thriller. And then Nope, Western, like you said. Um, I would put it in there. It's not a genre, but like summer blockbuster because it just felt so big because of like the format of film they were using. Every and the wide shots they had, like everything felt big, but it also felt like a documentary to a certain extent.
True. Yeah, I will agree with that too. Where it's like everything did look grander in Nope.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
you can see is you talked about it earlier, but you see his progression. Like when I rewatched Get Out a few months ago, I hadn't seen it for maybe a year or two, but watching it after seeing Us, and I think I'd already seen Nope at that point. I saw like how much his cinematography and directing style had grown because like the colors and the cinematography in Get Out were great, but they felt like a first feature film. Like it's like okay, we only have this much budget, we can only spend this much to get this vision out, and they did amazing. But then you watch Us, and like you said, like the colors were more bold and the lighting was better. Everything was shot at night, and then you get to Get Out, and Get Out was IMAX cameras, day for night shots.
Yeah.
Like us, they just went full gamut. And we have
I
all this money. Let's spend it all.
Yeah, and it in Get Out, there's like one set piece. There's the house and
Yeah.
the land that the house is on. And yeah, in terms of like being able to save money, if you are able to find a space like that where you're like actually shooting on location, you have one space, it's a giant house, you can film anywhere inside the house and on the grounds. It makes it where it's like you're saving money, you have less of a budget, but you can do what you need to do for that story. But like in us, they're in that summer house, they're in a lake,
Yep.
they're at the beach in Santa
At the
Cruz,
boardwalk.
at the boardwalk. Me and my girlfriend were like, did they like close down the boardwalk for this or something? I was like, no one goes there anyway, so
He,
it's probably easy enough for them to like
basically, yeah. They probably went during the off season.
yeah. So and then you just get a bunch of people that just are paid to like play around
Hold
at
hands.
the boardwalk. Yeah.
And then hold hands in red.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. And then but yeah, you see like it's up a step. I mean, it's a
Yeah,
bigger set pieces, but
exactly.
then yeah, like you
Well, even
said
that
with
basement too.
oh
When they go down the escalator and
yeah,
it's just
right.
like a whole nother world below everyone. You're just like, wait, what?
That's true. And then yeah, that's intense. And then the
Yeah.
rabbits, like that's all they eat
Oh
or
yeah.
something. It's like
Raw rabbits with
yeah.
freaking huge scissors. You're just like, what?
And then you transition to Nope, and it's like yeah, it's a blockbuster, and
Yeah.
it which is amazing because it's like the amount of like work Jordan had to put in and not only convincing people to say I want to do this movie as my first movie and it's a feature length movie, but
Hmm.
then two movies down the road, you're like, I want millions of dollars. I want this giant set piece. I want this and that and all the CGI. And for people to hey, let's take this and whether or not it's a calculated risk or not, I don't think it's a risk because it's like Jordan has shown what his inspiration and what his talent is from the get-go with Get Out to where it can
Well, and then
progress to
everything before that too, like the Key and Peels,
yeah.
the Noah, no, Keanu, not Noah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. It's like it, it's not like like when you say like or like if someone would say like oh Get Out like was like that's like that must have been given to him. It's like no, like that Jordan has shown in the past that like hey like Get Out was like years down the road, but
Hmm.
it was his statement to say like this is my movie and this is and I was telling my girlfriend I was like to know that you can own the and have the rights to everything is that he puts his name that at he's the writer, producer, and director
Hmm.
of and it's like that's how you own your work where you're everything on that film.
Yeah.
And it shows that you're willing to invest everything that you have in it because like that's your project that's your in it like I think we all do it on a daily basis where it's like this is what I want to put my time into and this is why I want to do this and that and so it's kind of like it's awe inspiring because it's like it like talking about like David Lynch a couple podcasts ago where it's like it you can do whatever you want and you can create a film the way you want it just from being able to show that you can do it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I have some questions about Get Out. I mean, not Get Out. Nope.
Yeah.
So the first time I watched it, I left the theater not very happy. I think I can say I think I went in there with an expectation of it because of how much hype it was. Like it was getting summer blockbuster Will Smith numbers. I mean, like Will Smith attention.
Hmm.
And so I went in thinking like, okay, I've seen Get Out, I've seen Us. It's gonna be on the same par. Like these aliens are gonna come out this ship and start shooting people or something, whatever. I don't know where my head went at the time. So I go in thinking that, like, okay, this is how this alien movie is gonna be. Like that simple title, that's a very black title. Because black people, anytime some danger comes up, they're like, nope, I'm out of here.
Yep.
So perfect title. So I'm going and watching this movie thinking it's going to be a certain way and not getting that expectation that I set for the movie, even though it's not my movie. I had nothing to do with it. So I didn't have an appreciation for it until I watched it again yesterday. And then I realized, like, okay, this is actually an amazing movie.
It's different. It is a different movie,
Yeah.
and to have all like the like, yeah, are you going into it like thinking like, oh, this is going to be like an Independence Day style movie or
Yeah.
Independence like kind of blockbuster. Um,
Armageddon in the 90s, like
yeah, but
just
back then
something
in the
grand.
90s, like they were like literally looking for that blockbuster hit.
Hmm.
And they weren't really thinking about like, all right, we need everyone to go to the movies the day it comes out. And that's how we see whether or not it's a success.
Yeah.
Where nowadays you can have a success in the movie theater, but then you can also have like growing success, and if not even more, on
Yeah.
streaming platforms, on this and that and stuff. So you can have blockbusters in a different manner because it's like you can have people a year or two down the road watch it out of nowhere because it's cheap to rent on Amazon. And granted, get like nope, it's fairly new. I rented it for $6 on Amazon. I was like, that's a pretty penny, but it's not too
Yeah.
bad. Like
Well, it
no,
was in theaters in July. Like all these new
oh, is
movies
it
that are
okay?
coming out in
So
theaters, yeah, are like coming to streaming services within like 2 or 3 months.
yeah, see, so if you just wait a little bit, it took me a while. I was very surprised that I went without any spoilers. I knew that there was like this like weird shaped spaceship. For the whole time, the whole time in Nope, I totally thought it looked like a cowboy hat. I
Hilarious.
was like, is this like a flying cowboy hat or something?
So this morning, I end up like I've seen some of the behind the scenes, like them talking about how they directed it and use infrared cameras and IMAX cameras and film cam, like all this stuff. Somehow I stumbled on one video on YouTube this morning where they were talking about Jean Jacket, the spaceship,
Mhm.
and they were talking about how it's an animal. It's like it's a critter. It's a they said a critter. They said there's certain types of aliens that are critters, which are hunters. And the animal that Jean Jacket is a representation of is a jellyfish. So that's where it got its shape. And
It
then you
makes
can
sense.
see
Towards
it
the end, you see
exactly.
that. Yeah,
Because I thought it was a cuttlefish. Because cuttlefish and like squids do the same thing.
true,
But once
true.
once they said jellyfish, I was like, I get it.
That makes sense. And like even the inner workings, it's like the way like it processed the things that it
Yeah.
sucked up into it, typically the people. Um
Yes.
but
And you just hear
but
him groaning. You're just like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, you just hear him screaming a lot of crap about like it's flying around and different things. Yeah, it was impressive. I like it, it was a different, you know what, the whole time I was watching Nope, I was like, this is a better version of that movie Signs with Mel Gibson. I was like, you know how
hilarious.
like it's like it's like a farm and like there's
Yeah. And
spooky
then you get a
things.
glimpse of the alien like walking past the window or whatever.
Yeah, but you like wanted more. And I feel like
Hmm.
Nope was like that movie and more. And it was
Yeah.
like you had those action shots of like of the
Motorcycle rides,
alien.
of the horse rides.
Yeah, yeah. And like it kind of going back to your point of like it's like a critter and everything, like that was the whole point of like the reason why the main character was able to like kind of figure things out about
Hmm.
the aliens is that he treated it as like a predator,
Yeah.
as like an animal that like you either need to feed a certain way and respect its boundaries
And never turn
or
your
figure
back.
out. Yeah. Yeah. Or never look directly in its eyes too. Like we
So, no, go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was just thinking it popped in my head, but we have a buddy named Nick, and he has a small, I forget what kind of dog he has, but like when you look at it in the eyes, it gets all intense and then it
Oh,
wants to like
goodness.
kind of like face off to you. And it's like that's sort of what popped in my head, where it's like if you look at something in the eyes, it's like it wants to
Hmm.
kind of like figure you out and kind of like do some damage.
Let's go at it.
Yeah.
No, but I was going to ask because at the end of Nope, OJ, the main character,
Which is hilarious. I
he
think he, I,
with the white
dude,
horse,
no,
him
I
riding
think
around his white
there
Bronco.
was like there was a scene where like OJ's like stuck somewhere and the sister's like run OJ, and I think Jordan just wanted a movie that he can say or have like the line run OJ run.
No, my favorite part of that was the fact that it was OJ on a white Bronco running
Oh,
away.
that's true.
That was my favorite part. I was like,
Did
my goodness, the subtlety of it is just like, come on, man. No, but I was gonna ask because at the end, like he faces off with Jean Jacket. Like he looks directly at Jean Jacket, and Jean Jacket changes forms, but he doesn't get attacked by Jean Jacket. So I didn't understand that because he survives.
and he survives and
Yeah,
like
like
is it like a
is it a
mutual respect?
respect?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like is it like oh like we're doing this dance, but it seems like you figured me out or figured
Hmm.
the play, the game. Um yeah, I don't know about that because on the flip side, he was also trying to kind of protect his sister
Hmm.
to provide her time to like run away with the motorcycle.
And
So
take that
he was
photo. Yeah.
yeah, and to do that, yeah, the whole thing, it's almost like trying to capture Bigfoot. Like the
Hmm.
whole the whole grand story of it was like they're trying to like capture this video evidence or photo evidence of this thing. But yeah, that's true. He did, and it changed his shape and everything, and it got
Yeah.
real big and boisterous and stuff, and it almost kind of taunted and flaunted to him and everything. But him staring it down was at the same thing, almost like you know how like when they
Like
uh
I'm not scared. Like
yeah,
you're
like
supposed to be
you
bigger than the
yeah,
attacker or the animal.
yeah, to show that like you're not afraid of everything. We're not advising to go and stare down bears and stuff, but
No,
uh
I'm gonna stop the nope conversation for a quick second. Have you seen that video of the guy that was getting attacked by a bear and just starts socking it in the face?
no.
It's a new video. This guy is like on a sheer cliff, not a sheer cliff, but there's like some rockies, like some rocks, and he's just hiking, and a bear just pops up, and he said F it and just starts socking this bear. And the bear is like still trying to attack, but he's socking this bear, and then the bear finally runs away. I'll have to find it. I'll send it to you.
That's a story for a lifetime right there.
uh, oh, my other question. So you and I both like Tarantino.
Uh-huh.
You've probably heard rumors of all Tarantino's characters live within like the same universe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you think? Well, I've heard the same thing for Jordan Peele's characters.
Oh,
Do you
interesting.
do you believe that could be true?
Well, okay, where location wise, in the movie sense, Get Out is located in
That's in like the East, right?
like northeastern
Yeah,
area of the states,
probably
and
upstate New
then
York,
upstate New York, somewhere like that,
something like yeah.
and then us is in California,
Hmm.
Santa Cruz,
Santa
California.
Cruz.
Same thing for Nope, is
Nope is in like
California,
probably SoCal, yeah.
something like that, in the middle of nowhere, like where
But in Us and Nope, they go to the same burger place. They go to a burger chain.
oh, the where they have that fried fish sandwich that they're eating in
Yeah, it's like green
Nope.
and yeah, like the green and yellow interior.
I did not notice that that's the same place.
I didn't either. It wasn't until after I watched Nope. It was one of those promo interviews, and somebody asked that question, like, "Do your characters live in the same universe?" And somebody pointed out that fact of like, "Oh yeah, what they're eating in Us, like the burgers or whatever they're eating in Us, is the same restaurant that they eat in Nope."
Well, then in terms of timeline, what happens in Us,
Mhm.
I would assume what happens in Us cannot happen after or before Nope. Because like if all these doppelgangers are coming out and trying to kill their untethered,
Yeah, that would
when
be like headline news for days
yeah,
and days
when you
and
should think
days.
like somehow they would experience that unless they're out in the middle of nowhere, and then that's almost impossible. But
No, because they had their chain, their tethered chain went a
yeah,
good halfway across the country. So that would no, everybody would know about that. And they
yeah,
work in the movie industry. So somebody at
true.
the movie industry would be like, hey, did you see these people tethered?
Unless it happened before, like this whole like Nope is technically like a middle version of like Get Out, and And us
Oh, us.
would be interesting, but that'd be a lot going on in the country. Big old giant
Oh yeah.
spaceship, and then doppelgangers come out
Well,
of nowhere.
this country is a little crazy,
Well,
so I wouldn't be
yes.
that surprised.
Yeah, there's no question about that. That nowadays
No,
people
but
will not be
I can
surprised by anything.
see. Oh, exactly. Yeah, I can see Nope being second. I can see Get Out being first, Nope being second, and then yeah, Us being third. And like
What
timeline wise.
would be super interesting if somehow he does like like in terms of like Tarantino, the way you
Hmm.
kind of see that they are kind of like in sort of the same universe is that there's like the like I think what is it like the
The
same cigarettes?
cigarettes,
Yeah,
yeah,
they
the
all kind
Lucky
of smoke.
Strike or something like that,
Yeah,
or
so
Lucky Apple.
because I
Forgot what they're
think in
called.
Hateful Eight they're smoking those like
Yep.
cigarettes, and then it progresses into Pulp
And then
Fiction and all that stuff.
Hollywood. There's
Yeah,
posters of them in Hollywood.
which it would be interesting if that's how like that's Peele's version of like adding that like continuity that like yes they are in the same is this like random fast food chain that like pops
Yeah.
up everywhere. It's almost like
Or it
what
could be Fry's
in
Electronics.
or that's true. Well, like in Pixar, supposedly Pixar like they or like Toy Stories and stuff like
Oh, they sprinkle. Yeah.
they have the same pizza place. They all the Pixar movies have the same like pizza place reference.
Hmm.
So like you never know. It's like it'll be interesting to see if when Jordan comes out with another one, if there is another one, that
There has to
he,
be.
it's like there's like directors. It's almost like unless you completely bomb a movie and
I don't know about that one.
what
You
in
could
terms of
finish.
like
You could finish, but I don't think that's true.
well I don't know. I'm thinking like directors. I'm like just go try it another one and see what happens and everything. But
I I think if you give Hollywood one good one, they'll let you have a couple stinkers before you make another good one.
you think
Yeah, come on, think about it. Think
what
about
Adam Sandler with the with all of his
no. He can do no wrong to me. No, I'm talking directors. Michael Bay.
true.
Come on. Like
Well,
he's had some
that
stinkers, but then he comes back with Transformers. You're like, we'll give you $100 million.
yeah, because like those things, yeah. Like I think the moment you make a bunch of money for a production company or like a studio, you're like, all right, yeah, it's true. It probably yeah. Same thing with it's not that he has stinkers. Is
Mhm.
the guy that does Avatar? Like who's
Oh, James
which?
Cameron.
Yeah, James Cameron. Which movie production company is willing to wait around for James Cameron to spend like 5 6 years on like just like pre-production of a movie to get like the underwater scenes perfect. Like it's only a person that does Titanic and all these other
Yes.
movies and stuff. And
Terminator. Like
yeah, so
they have to know the method to his madness. Like for that, like for them to be like, okay, you gave us Terminator, then you gave us Titanic, and then you want to do something called Avatar with blue people. We'll see how it does. Oh, whoa, you surpassed Titanic. When's the next one coming out? We need it in 2 years. Give me 15.
yeah.
All right, we'll do it.
Give me 15 and I'll also raise you. I'm making six of them too, or something.
Yeah.
He says like a crazy amount that he wants to make.
And you won't get the last one till like 2095.
Yeah. We'll be all long dead, but our
Uh-huh.
children.
Some AI is gonna film it for him.
Yeah. He's making himself a robot or something. He's gonna freeze himself, but only
All
him
his
will figure that out.
sentient thoughts.
Yeah, but
He's
yeah, that's
already he
true.
has a real life Terminator in his house for sure. Like
Most
that's who's gonna
likely.
direct the next movie.
What's interesting, this is another tangent about James Cameron too, or like another tangent, is that what's interesting is that he does his movies. I went to a local art kind of viewing and stuff, and they were doing like a thing about James Cameron and the Titanic and all that stuff. But he does a lot of like research and like he does like a lot of like underwater kind of experimentation and then also like navigation and kind of like identifying sunken ships and finding the Titanic underwater and stuff. but he does all of his movies just to fund all those projects. Like he just does movies just because he wants to do this other stuff and what he actually wants to do, which is like it's sort of a nice way to kind of live your life. You're like, I only do this stuff because I want money to do the stuff I actually want to do. And so it's kind of interesting to know that he just like, all right, well, I'll make another movie. It's fine. It's not like saying that he doesn't like making those movies or he doesn't like his projects, but it seems like he enjoys being in the water and stuff and doing all this like kind of like navigation of finding things and all that.
That's insane. I did not know that. Like the fact that he's just doing movies for fun, but his movies make billions and billions of dollars.
Right? Like it,
Like
like who else can do that in their lifetime?
nobody. Like, hey, I'm just gonna make a movie real quick. It's like,
Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
what?
I'm running out of funds. I'll just make a movie.
I guess it's time to get back in the studio. Yeah, okay. That is insane. Like, as you hear Tarantino, and he's just like consistently writing and perfecting like whatever he's writing at the time, and it takes 2 years, 3 years to make it, but he's doing it for the love of it. So to hear it on the flip side, a guy that's making even more money and has even bigger blockbusters doing it for fun is crazy.
Yeah, it almost kind of like that person was born to do movies and something else. That person was
Yeah.
not born to do one thing. There's like many things that that person was ready to do. Where Tarantino, I think it's almost like just like a like nothing is ever done in Tarantino's eyes. I think if he would kind of go back to all of his scripts, I think he would always have like things to change, things to improve, things to do this, but a project would never end if
Yeah.
you do that. So it's like I think we all kind of know that kind of like behavior where it's like, oh, let me just do a little change, and then you mess it all up, and then like, oh well, I got to make all those changes again. So it's like you're always trying to improve more and more. I don't know. What we said, which one did we like out of three?
Hmm.
Is there one that I'm assuming, which one did you like least?
Um, I'll say Nope, which is yeah, I'll say Nope. But I actually really enjoyed Nope after the second watching.
Yeah,
So
Nope
it's
is
tough. They're
different.
all like it's like 1A, 1B, 1C. Like
Yeah, yeah. For me, it's Us. The Nope, in terms of the grandness and all that stuff. It was a fun movie. It was definitely a
yeah.
fun movie. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's a flip side between Us and Nope. It's they're all completely different. So it's like it's kind of hard to like choose which one did you like most, which one did you like least, or so on and so forth. They're all great movies. I think I rated all of them like 4 stars or more in
Hmm.
our letterbox and stuff. And so it it no matter what, I think these are movies that they're easy to digest too, no matter what. It's like they're not very long movies. They're not like 3 hour, 2.5 hour long movies. They're pretty easy to watch and the like I watched all three in one day. And so which is not uncalled for, but uh if you want to sit down and kind of enjoy Get Out I think is like an hour and 30 minutes, so it's like that's pretty clean, that's pretty easy
Hmm.
movie to watch, and suspenseful, it's intriguing, it's thought-provoking, and I think that's what he wanted out of that one. Same thing with Us, where it's like it's thought-provoking and intriguing, that like, oh, this like, is this even possible? It's like it's just like no, knowing our everyday lives, it's like, oh, maybe there is a doppelganger just kind of living under living under the first layer and all that stuff. And the way he opens the movie with like, oh, there's like all these unused like tunnels and subway stations and stuff under our feet, and a lot of people don't know where they go and all that stuff, which is like entirely possible. You never know.
Yeah, that's what got me because I'm like, I go to San, even though it's just a movie, I'm like, I go to Santa Cruz all the time. Like, I don't want to know there's tunnels under me. Let me just relax. Like, let me just enjoy this ocean and this sand. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
know there's somebody like I'm under this this sand right now, waiting for me to do
Yeah.
something stupid. I'm gonna get
with
my throat slit. I
with a pair of scissors.
have a exactly with the gold, beautiful pair of scissors.
Yeah, right.
I had a question about Us. Do you think the Adelaine at the end of the movie is the same Adelaine that was that birthed or that was married to that same man? Those are her kids, or do you think they switched again?
Well, so so yeah, the ending basically shows that the mother, Adelaine, that's the
Adelaine,
mother's
yeah,
name,
or Adelaide.
is
Sorry.
Adelaide, um, is basically the tethered version of the untethered, right? So like they
Mm-hmm.
switched places. And so the one that grew up above ground and lived a semi normal life as opposed to the ones that are tethered was actually the tethered one, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're asking if they switched at the end of the movie when they're fighting.
Do you think they switched again? Because in the beginning of the movie, when she was a child, she went into that fun house building, whatever, and they switched. So the tethered version of her switched with the real version of her. So do you think the untethered version was the one that ended up in the car at the end of the movie?
Man, I don't know. If it is, that explains what the sun is like looking at, because you
Mm-hmm.
can tell the sun is like, this is weird. Like
Yeah.
I this seems different. But then also you don't know what happened when the tethered one, or the I think Jordan Peele calls him Red in the movie, or
Mm-hmm.
in the whatever the credits. But when she took him underground, we don't know what happened there too. So it's like,
Yeah.
did that one explain like what happened, and then does he know that like, oh, that was man? But
Like
then
that's
that
my real
means,
mom.
yeah, but did she actually know? Because like they switched
Oh, well,
when they
yeah,
were kids.
true.
So, but it's like, but then technically that's his mom that is the
Mm-hmm.
one that like I don't. Yeah, that was confusing. That,
Yeah.
but then like
It's
it
very
like,
open for interpretation.
yeah, how do you explain what the sun is feeling? Like, how does the sun, like, what is the sun like understanding at the end, where it's
Mm-hmm.
like they're like he's just staring at her, and then she smiles back like a subtle smile.
Yeah.
What do you think? You think so?
No, I don't. I think what you're saying, I think the son now knows what really happened because the mother didn't fully explain it. So I think Red explained it or did something to show him what really occurred. And so now he knows the truth. So he gave her that look like, how could you do this? And she's just like, shh, don't tell anybody. This is our secret.
Yeah, right. That could explain that, like
Yeah.
what the son is thinking at the end, because it is odd. And then, like you said, like it's open to interpretation. So it's like the moment it ended, I turned to my girlfriend. I was what do you think that is? What do you think that was, and everything. And so it kind of opens that discussion to like try to discuss what the ending is of this movie. But it's super interesting. It's an interesting concept. It's something that's not unfathomable to our minds, that like I bet you like every once in a while we think about it like, oh, what if there is another me, or just
Well, and
something
then
like.
you can see that in Hollywood too, though. Like you see all these actors and actresses that look alike. Like Margot Robbie has at least 10 doppelgangers that are in Hollywood with her.
Yeah, right, like
So it's
everyone always
not.
has like a second person that like
Mm-hmm.
is there like double or whatever and stuff. And does that happen in our own everyday lives too? There possibly, like there's what, 7 billion people on the planet Earth
Yeah,
right now. So it's I'm certain there's another Jason or Kai out there.
for sure. Just plotting.
Yeah, right. But I'm ready to ask the last question.
Let's do it.
All right. Typically our last question is when we finish these discussions is to ask, will we add the movie that we're discussing, in this case, three movies of Jordan Peele's collection, into our own personal movie collections. So I can ask you that, Kai. Would you include Get Out, Us, and or Nope in your personal movie collection?
All three.
All three?
Yeah, I would. After I had to watch Nope a second time, but yes, all three.
Same here. I think I'm definitely gonna be buying them. Whether or
Hmm.
not they are included in the Criterion collection or whatever, I think I'm gonna be buying all three of them to add them to my collection. Um, because I think they're all high quality, like I said again, thought provoking movies that I think deserve to be in anybody's collection because it's like they're they're suspenseful, they're fun, they're engaging, and I think you can always rewatch them and probably get a little more detail, a little more questions answered, or probably questions unanswered. So, or even more questions to ask yourself. But yeah, I think definitely I will add all three of them to my collection. I did definitely post or add them to my letterbox profile that I rewatched all of them or watched Note for the first time. So it was fun to take this time to watch all three and kind of have like a general discussion of Jordan Peele as a director,
Yeah,
producer, writer, and then also just the movies themselves.
I enjoyed it.
All right. You want to take us out?
Yeah. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Saturday Night Popcorn. Today was Sunday morning hangover, but still the same premise. I'm Kai.
And I'm Jason, and we'll be back next week for another one. Thank you.